What's up, everyone? This is Wendy Fortino. I'm your host on WOLFpak TV, WOLFpak Live, and I am so excited about our conversation, our episode. I have two guests that have made a huge impact on me, and I'm going to introduce them. So I'm going to start here. We have the one and only Rob Bailey. Kill Rob Bailey, but we still want him around. He has started multiple companies. He owns Flag Nor Fail. He linked up with Charley Hustle to start Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard. You have a supplement company, Run Everything Labs, a street racing car shop. You're building a new headquarters warehouse. Your albums have played on ESPN, Under Armour, NBA, Southpaw, countless professional sports team entrance songs. The list goes on. It's ridiculous. Rob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm fantastic. Yeah,
Good.
Here I am. How are you?
We're gonna dive in. Thank you. No one's ever asked me. Thanks.
Well, we should ask. How are you?
No, I'm great. Thank you.
Good.
And we're gonna talk about all that stuff. It was a long list, so how do you address all of it at once, right? But Charley, we also have Charley Hustle. He goes by the Hustle Standard, and Charley has linked up with a lot of different well-known artists. He has kind of mastered the art of sonic branding. He brands a lot of different businesses and companies and brands, and a lot of his songs you would never know, but have played in countless athlete entrance songs like MMA, UFC, you name it. He is his music is playing in a lot of athletes entrance songs and across the board. So we're so happy to have him here. How are you doing, Charley?
I'm doing really well. Thanks, Wendy. And Rob stole my question, so I can't do it again. But I know you're doing well, so we're good to go.
Well, if you couldn't notice from my introduction of both of you guys, you're probably laughing at me. Obviously, I'm not savvy with the lingo in the music world, but you two both are. And I'm really interested about how you landed in where you are. But before we get started, I have a fun little video to kind of bring back some memories for you both, and then we're gonna get started. So let's just watch. There's a couple minutes.
I really wanted to play the drums.
Can you still play the flute?
I don't know. I sold it a long time ago.
Hustle, we could have like a flute on the album.
Yeah.
I did the 9 to 5. I did the 401k, all that great shit. I started doing life. We had a house, we had a dog, we had all the things that you're supposed to do. And then we were just doing life. And like, as we were doing it, I was like, I always thought like, this feels fucking stupid.
Work. All I do is work, hustle, kill. 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 All I do is work. Wake up and chase my dreams. I won't regret when the sun sets, 'cause I live my life like I'm a beast. Breathe. I'm a mother.
Thanksgiving morning, Rob Bailey sent me a text and said, watch this video at 41 minutes or 41 minutes or something like that, 41:50 something. And I was like, okay, no problem, Rob Bailey. So I click on the link, and this is what happened.
You got a favorite song you listen to during workout?
Yeah, I forget the band though. It's called I'm a Beast.
Who's I'm a Beast? Do you know who's I'm a Beast?
I'm a motherfucking beast. Yeah, I've got it on my phone over there. Yeah, that's how it goes.
That's your workout song.
Beast, I'm a motherfucking beast. It's like, yeah, it's actually great.
What?
Oh wow, there's some flashbacks there.
That was cool.
Goodness.
Did that bring back some memories?
Yeah, I still feel that way watching the Mark Cuban thing.
That is so cool. So yeah, a lot to unpack here. All right. And we're gonna touch on all this stuff, but I wanna let's go ahead. So I want to know like how you guys even first linked up. I think you said you went to high school together, but I've talked to Charley a little bit, so I'm going to talk to him a second. But Rob, I want to hear your side of the story. Take me back to your high school days, and then how you guys linked up for the Rob Bailey Hustle Standard phenomenon.
My goodness. So we were in basketball camp, I think. We got put into the same like dorm room in basketball camp. And I had just got my wisdom teeth out like 2 days later or 2 days earlier. And I probably should not have been there. I was like a mess. And they put me in the room with Charley, and we just became friends that weekend, and then stayed friends, and then hung out all the time, just worked on like silly little projects together, like videos and stuff like that. Charley started making music and moved to New York. And then we lost touch for, I think, like a year. And I think you got a hold of my mom or something like that. It was back before I think everyone had cell phones. There was no social media. So it was like if you had to find someone, you had to call their old house and then, do all that. So he got a hold of my mom. My mom got a hold of me. I got a hold of him. And then, man, we started making music a few years we started making music then.
Yeah,
we were like, hey, let's just make music together to experiment. So we made some stuff that'll never see the light of day. And then when I started putting out Dana Media, it was before YouTube like would block music, and they started just like blocking all my music. And I was like, wow, like what should I do? I want to use these really popular bands. And I reached out to Hustle and I was like, hey man, I want to make a video, but I need like a song that doesn't get copyrighted. And he was like, well, let's make one. So we drove up there and made a song called Work, Hustle, Kill. And it went in the video. It was an animal video back when the animal cage, back now. But it was Richard Hawthorne, who's like 125 pounds or 130 pounds, and he was deadlifting 600 for reps. Like it was crazy. And video was way different back then. I was always like first to market after an event. I'd put it up that night. So I would just beat everybody. And we put our song in it. Next thing you know, the song was being downloaded on bodybuilding.com forums and all over the place.
Well, was it because we didn't even release it? It was only in that video.
Yeah, they recorded it from the video, they looped it, and then it was like download links everywhere. And we were like, what is going on? Like, this is background music. And then we actually put it up on, what was it, iTunes at the time?
Yeah.
We put it up on iTunes, and next thing you know, like just people downloading it like crazy. And then we looked at each other and was like, hey, should we make like a full album? And the rest is history. Did I get that right, Charley? My memory's fuzzy.
Yeah. No, that's how it went.
That's crazy. Did you guys well when it went viral, were you thinking, oh, this is just like a one-time thing, or were you like, we've got something here, this is gonna be magic, we're about to blow up?
I think we thought, I don't know if we thought we were gonna blow up, but we definitely knew people were interested in it, and we wanted to see if there would be more interest. If we made more songs, would people show up for that too? So that after we put out Battle Tested, our first EP, and the song Hungry, because Work, Hustle, Kill, like by viral standards, I wouldn't even say it went viral. It just kind of had like a little moment and enough to show us we should do it. And then when we put out Hungry, that song is the one that like really went. Like that was the one where it was like, oh, we're a real band. Like we can do this. And it didn't happen right away. I think the album came out in May. And it wasn't until like the end of the year when like 2 different people put it in their YouTube videos, and those videos got like millions of views. And then people started, buying our songs because you bought songs back then. And and that was kind of it. That was like, oh, okay, cool, let's do it. So
yeah.
And for me, it was weird because I had always grown up buying CDs and buying albums. So the whole digital thing never really seemed, I think, real to me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we felt it like we should because digital was such a new thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, people are watching our YouTube videos, and how do you equate like downloads or watches from YouTube videos to actual record sales? So it was a strange time. And I was just like, oh yeah, this thing's working that we're doing. But never once did I see us being in movies or Under Armour commercials or NBA. I never did I think that. I mean,
yeah.
If we would have thought that, I think we would have probably made different kind of music and cursed less.
If only you knew. Well,
then it might not have worked.
I'm going to tell. Well, Rob, I'm going to tell you. When I first like heard some of this music, I'm going to be honest. Like, I had no idea that you were behind it because I always looked at you because you and Dana Lynn Bailey, you guys were this power couple. I did know that you had something to do with her training. It looked to me like you were editing all of these incredible videos, things that no one had ever seen these types of videos before. I think a lot of what we see today was definitely pioneered by you. You kind of created this system of, you know, chopping up these crazy videos and inspire and motivate people. You and Dana were doing that before anyone was doing that. I saw you in the bodybuilding scene very strongly, but when I heard this music and then I heard, wait, Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard, wait, Rob Bailey does music? What? I had no idea. So, but you're really good. And it seemed to me like it was something that you had been doing for a long time, but it was just so crazy because you just kind of blew out of the scene. Did people tell that to you? Did people say to you, like, where did you come from? How did you get into music?
Yeah, I got a lot of that. Mostly because in that period of time, all my effort was going into supporting Dana. So I was building Flag Nor Fail. I was building up Dana. I was working on other projects, but I was really sort of behind the scenes.
You were.
So people saw me everywhere, but there was always like, well, why is he here? And they're like, oh, it's Dana's husband. That's why he's here. He's with Dana carrying her bags. And I think the music was one of the first things where it was like, it went out and it had my specific name on it. So a lot of people didn't put two and two together. Like I would meet people all the time that knew my music that didn't know Dana, or they've known us forever and they listened to it, but they didn't even realize that I was the same person. Especially because we didn't put out music videos we did everything and it was hard to explain to people, but we did it completely different. We made music in a studio and we put it out for digital, but we never toured. We never really did music videos. We didn't have an Instagram page. Like, we didn't traditionally go after the band. Oh, you found that one.
Oh, that one. Oh, God.
She's found everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was, I think, our first time where we were like, should we shoot a music video? Like, we're filming each other right now. Like, it's
just us.
This is him filming me and then tripod filming him. Like,
what I love about us in the back of the van is someone said it later because we drove around to film in the back of the van. And somebody later was like, you don't have to drive. You could have just like moved the camera and made it look like.
Yeah. Who knows, man?
If he was recording you in the back of the,
I think Drew was driving. I think Drew might have been driving when you were filming, or
we had my
like
brother
that.
Drive. Yeah.
Okay. Thank God. I thought you had two.
No. We weren't that crazy.
And that's like in the elevator at the warehouse. Like, yeah. But yeah, we did everything so different, and it's weird because it wasn't a project where we were thinking like, hey, let's blow this band up, And I think even making music, when we came out with our second album, Beast, one of the guys that was handling some of our like publishing deals, he heard it and he was like, oh, this isn't right. And we were like, what do you mean? He's like, you curse too much. Like, it's just sort of off.
Yeah.
And he was coming at it from the music industry side, which I completely understand. Right. And we were doing it to really just make these interesting sounds for very specific moments. It's the same way Flag Nor Fail, the apparel line started, which was like, it was all the little things I say to myself in my head to pump myself up, and I put it on t-shirts so I can read it. And then it does a thing for me. And if anybody else likes it, cool, it's available for you too. And it's kind of the same exact thing we did with music, was like, hey, there's all these really cool moments in life where you're being your own hype man. And I think I would listen to like Little John or DMX or, you know, all these guys to get like pumped up. But the lyrics were totally off base of what I was doing, you know? Like I'm listening to Little John yell about shots. And it's like fun, but it's not relevant to me lifting weights or training or doing, you know? And when we put together that music, we really tried to make it for those moments. And I think that's what it transcended fitness, and it went on to, you know, everyone in the military loves us now. Like it's been used for so many wild moments, but it's like the special moments of preparation or hyping yourself up, getting ready for something. So yeah, we went about it a very strange way, very, very strange way. But I mean, the perfect way, apparently.
Yeah. No, yeah, I thought it's interesting to look back at it. And I remember at the time, even, I think like we very much knew that we were making music not for everyone. We were making music for a very specific audience of people. And mostly that audience was me and Rob. But it really resonated with us and found other people that believe what we believe and work as hard as we were working, and, you know, like wanted it as bad as we wanted it. And I didn't want to make something friendly, or I didn't want to make something approachable. I didn't want to make something that, you know, like my grandmother hates it. And, you know, like, and it's like, yeah, well, you know, sorry, but good. She's supposed to hate it. Not everyone should like everything, and not everything should be made for everyone to like it, you know, like and it feels kind of cool to know that we did this thing that kind of had like a subculture, like a sub genre movement to it, you know, and it's pretty dope.
Let's talk about your lyrics, because here's the thing. All right. And Rob, both of you guys kind of spoke on this about how you're making music that makes you feel something in a certain type of way. And you feel like if you're connecting with it that way, other people are going to connect with it. One thing that I really notice about your music and about your lyrics is that it genuinely feels like you are overcoming something, and you're like getting it out through your music. And I can feel that. And I always love when I listen to music, when I can actually feel that emotion. And I can only imagine how many ups and downs that you have both been through to get to where you are, because people see the successes, they see all the hits, they see all the wins, but they don't see some of the down parts, right? Rob, you're nodding your head. So
Absolutely.
I can only imagine. So let's talk about some of that, because that's where the music really hits me. And I mean, I really want to know like what shit you went through to like scream into the microphone like that.
Jeez.
Yeah, where do I start?
I think that we were sort of first to market in the fitness community with like an apparel line, right? And I had no mentors, or I didn't really know who to look up to. So I kind of did everything the hard way. And because I'm capable of doing everything, you know, I was the one building websites, taking the photos, design, also printing, and my workload was just crazy.
Yeah.
And then in the same respect, I was also acting as Dana's manager, media person, whatever, you know, and then also the struggles of just normal life of trying to like own a house and do all those things. And I think the fire that really got me was when Dana hit the scene. I was trying to get her to every supplement company, right? She just wanted sponsorships. We wanted to do this thing. And dude, everyone in the beginning, no one understood the Dana Lynn Bailey phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
Like they just, it was too new, and they were like, what is this? You know, gross, get out of
She
here.
didn't fit the mold.
No, yeah, not at all. And it probably would have been a lot easier if she did, but that like tripled my workload. It was like, all right, I'm going to drive her to more shows, get her in front of more people, do more videos. I'm also going to make this apparel line work so that we can afford to do these things. And I just feel like I was so like hungry for life and hungry for everything that, I mean, it was just running full speed. And I think the magic of Charley and I is Charley's extremely talented. Like musically, I'm not even an ounce of what he is, right? But I am a designer. I understand storytelling. I can yell, I can't properly scream, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize in the music is sort of like these traditional metal bands and everybody I listen to, there's like an art to screaming like that.
Yes.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I yell like I'm in an argument or in a fight. And I think that sort of brought it back to make it a lot more relatable, that my voice was like very attainable by the average person. And I think instead of hitting these really consistent scream notes, you ended up hearing a little bit more in there, right?
Yeah.
And then I think that Charley had a perfect understanding of like how to work with that. We had a great understanding of how to work together and sort of what we were looking to accomplish. So I think mine was just like, I'm running at life full speed. The frustration of not knowing what I'm doing, the frustration of like trying to make my wife's dreams come true, trying to make my dreams come true, and just being like tired of the life before and then just in the shit.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh. Charley, you experienced a lot of that with him. So I want to hear what your thoughts are on Rob, and then I want to hear about your situation.
My thoughts on Rob.
Yeah.
I mean,
what are your thoughts on me?
What are my thoughts on Rob?
Yeah. I want to know what your thoughts. Has he heard your thoughts on him? Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. We share thoughts. No, look, Rob and I were buddies since high school, right? And there was something, we both had an energy, I think, even in high school, where we were kind of different. We had our sights set outside of where we were, and we didn't know how to get there, but we were like, we're going somewhere. Who knows where that is? And, I moved to New York. Rob started to do his thing, and I was trying so hard to make it in the music industry. I was engineering, I was producing for people, I was writing with people, but like no one would really give me a chance. It felt like nobody would take me seriously. It felt like, I don't know, I was just kind of kept over here and I didn't belong and all that stuff. And not to sound sad about it or anything like that, I'm just where I was and where I was coming from at 26 years old, or whatever. And so when Rob was like, hey, let's make this song, I was like, yeah, let's make this song. Like, let's do this. Let's give it everything we've got. And having a little bit of success on that first Work, Hustle, Kill song was like, I have a path. I have a place. I can make something of this. So I was just like, I'm going after this with everything I've got. And, I remember playing on Hungry, there's a guitar. It's like, den, 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 den. It's very simple. But I remember when I did that, I in my mind, I was like, I just want to break the fucking string. Like, I just want to hit it so hard and get all my aggravation and whatever, out on this string right now. And I've never been able to like lay down a guitar that I've liked that much ever since. And it's not even good necessarily. Like, it's just, I'm just mad, And so and look, Rob and I didn't come from much, so I think that too, like there was no opportunities for us in our circle, so we had to go out and find them or make them. And so that's where a lot of that came from as well.
Couple comments here. That's cool. It's so cool to hear the story behind it, because it's like, I think whenever I talk to somebody who has achieved so much success, it seems like there is definitely a pattern, or there definitely is a pattern. Most of the time, the people that achieve the most come from nothing. You have to create a work ethic. It's just, it just seems like it's part of the deal. Like, you're part of the whole system, the whole programming, you have to fight it. You have to fight your way there. And it's almost all and that's literally what I feel when I hear your music. Something that was interesting for me is as I kind of continue to listen to your music and I saw it progress, it did feel like it was progressively getting like more and more intense. Am I imagining things, or were we getting more intense as we were going?
Yeah, it's funny because all the bands that I listen to, they generally start out really, really heavy. And then as they go, they get lighter, you know?
Not you.
Yeah, it's funny because like every single time that, you know, a band like say Bring Me the Horizon comes out with an album, it gets like lighter and lighter and lighter. And I'm like, you're going the wrong way. Like, I mean, even like a Post Malone, right? Let's go the trendiest artist ever right now. And it's like every time he comes out with something, it's lighter and lighter and lighter. And yeah, I don't know if I was getting more intense or what was happening, but I think we liked the sound, and I think we were just trying to push more and more into it. And I think that just sort of that just ended up heavier and heavier. That's something we just came out with a song. How long ago was that?
A few months ago now, half a year.
A few months ago, we came out with a song called Heart of the Champion, and we had a lot of that discussion, which was like our last album prior to that, however many years ago that was. You know, Charley's life was moving all over the place. My life was moving all over the place. And I think we were just getting heavier, you know? Yeah. And I think that, I don't know why. Do you have an answer why we were getting heavier other than that?
I think there's a couple reasons. I think one, we were always looking to like top the last thing we did. Yeah. So it was like, okay, well, let's do more, you know, let's make it heavier, you know? And I also think there was just a lot going on. Your life changed in a way where it wasn't as much, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't as much about the chase of something anymore. It was about dealing with things. Yeah. And I think that was just frustrating for you in your life. And myself, I was going through a lot. I had a wife who had passed away a few years before that. And I think I was still processing all that stuff and trying to figure out which direction I was going and who I was again and all that stuff. And so I think we were just going through a lot of stuff. And then when we came back together to make Heart of a Champion, we very purposely were like, we both, I think, came to this place where we were like, I don't feel like anger is our thing. It's motivation. It's hunger. It's you know, that's our I don't know, the thing that makes us Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard. So on that song, we were like, let's get back to the hunger. Let's get back to the pursuit instead of just anger.
Well, I mean, what your thing has always been is expressing the moment, right? I mean, you're in the moment, you're fighting for something, that's in your music. You're dealing with something, that's in your music. And then maybe you feel like you're a little burnt out on dealing with it. So then you decide to go back to the pursuit of it. So you're kind of flowing through the channels, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of it's been honest. Yeah. Like that's at least the bottom line. It's all been honest in where we were. So, you know.
Yeah, I think naturally too, this might be a reason we got heavier too, is we came from two totally different worlds, right? Like I am deathcore metal. Like that's what I've always loved. I've always listened to the heaviest of the heavy, and Charley doesn't understand or like any of that music anyway. So I think one of the magical things, and I remember coming to make like sort of the first stuff, and I was like, I wanted these really heavy sounds, and you were like, Charley was like, well, I make hip hop and do some electronic stuff. So he came from this side and like met me where he could. And then I got as soft as I could to make our first couple albums. And that's why we ended up with like the auto-tune slowdown parts. Like that's not my vibe at all. That's Charley running that part. He's like, all right, cool. You're the bridge. And he would do that. But like, it sounds dope, dude. I would never do it. And I think that because I continued in the industry too, I think we might've defaulted to me a little bit for a little more of the creative direction, because it was like, well, Rob's really in this industry. He's lifting every day. He gets it. And I was like, cool. If I'm going to give art direction, like, let's go heavier. But I think that's why our first couple albums were like so digestible for people, and people that normally didn't listen to metal, like scream, 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 they would hear that and it would be balanced by Charley with like auto tune and some nice like melody and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, I like this. And we heard that all the time. I heard it all the time back in the day, which was, oh, I normally don't listen to music like this, but I really like your stuff. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I heard it from the opposite side.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I usually don't listen to people screaming, but I kind of dig this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome. So you guys are now still making music together, right? And you're doing your own things. So I want to hear about that. Charley, because we talked a little bit about you and some of the projects that you're working on, but where have you evolved to? Because you're really fast. Your first music together was like in like 2010, right? You two?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was like when your first song came out. What was that? Work, Hustle, Kill?
Yeah. Or we had a Cannons. We had a song called Cannons that came out before that, but it wasn't under Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard. It wasn't. I forget what our names were on that, but there was something different. But yeah, Cannons was our first verse. Yeah.
Well, that was 15 years ago.
Oh my God.
Can you think about it, right? Yeah, I know. So you fast forward and you guys are evolving and stuff. And tell me about the evolution of that, and then where that lands you now and what you're working on.
Yeah. So the whole time Rob and I were working on our music together, we both were also working on tons of other stuff. Rob had all of his companies and, you know, the fitness industry and the amazing stuff that he was doing. And I was also still working with other artists and pursuing the greater music career in general. And I got into all sorts of interesting stuff. I was working with some hip hop groups. I was working with some folk artists. I was working with pop people. I got into, I moved out to LA at one point, which got me into writing for licensing. So writing to get songs placed with the purpose of getting songs placed in TV or ads or things like that. It was going pretty well, but it wasn't like my favorite way to work. It felt very, I don't know, just wasn't the art that I wanted to be making, you know? But it was great. I mean, I've had success with it and it's been cool. And I mean, recently I just had a song in something that I made a few years ago with one of the guys that I do that with. So it's a cool thing, very, very much. But I guess I was still felt like I was looking for like, what's my thing still, you know, like the Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard thing was cool, but that's me and Rob's thing. And we didn't have enough time to put into that to make it really everything we wanted it to be. So it was like, all right, what can I do? So anyway, Rob and I were talking and he was like, bro, you should make branded tracks for people. And I was like, yeah, I should do that. So I started looking into it, and then around the end of the year I was like, let me really dive into this world of like sonic branding and all that stuff. And it's been really cool. I have a few clients now. I'm working on like some podcast intros. I'm doing just did like a national commercial for a company. I'm doing sonic logos for a couple people's apps. And it's really fun and really creative, and it's nice. It's dope. So that's where I'm at. I'm still working with artists. I'm still still writing songs, you know, all that stuff. But this is now become my main focus, especially now that I live in the suburbs of Philadelphia, you know?
What was your last album together, you and Rob?
Full album was 6. It was called 6. It probably came out 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, so not that long ago.
It was, I think it might have been the beginning of 2020.
Okay.
Like pre-pandemic.
The dreadful 2020.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about that too, but Rob, for you, you know, the evolution for you, how has that been, you know, from 15 years ago, crazy when you think about it, evolving with Charley in that music, and then now you're producing your own music. So tell me about that evolution for you.
Yeah, I think about this a lot, right? But I like to just create is what it comes down to. So, you know, I'm still lead designer for Flag Nor Fail. I still am heavily involved in the creative. I own that, but I mean, it's spread out into everything. You know, once I sort of broke the code for business and creation and everything like that, I started realizing, oh, if I can do anything, what do I want to do? So we ended up moving to Montana. We built this giant warehouse. Started
Really
building.
fast, what caused you to want to move to Montana? What was driving you or drawing you to Montana?
We always wanted to move here. We wanted to retire here.
Oh, okay.
And I think my life has been a mixture of just like unlocking doors. And I think when we were living in Pennsylvania, the thought was like, well, this is where we live. We just always live here, you know? But I can do whatever I want in business. We can do whatever we want for Dana, all these different things. And then one day I was like, wait, we could just move. Like we could move to the place where we want to live.
That's crazy.
So I had a conversation with my brother and I said, hey, do you want to move? And that was on Monday. We were actually filming a reality TV show. We had a 40,000 square foot building. And on Monday I was like, hey man, let's move to Montana. And my brother was just like, okay. So on Friday, when we finished filming the show, I flew to Montana, bought a warehouse on Saturday. And then 30 days later, we shipped 17 tractor trailers out and moved to Montana. It was like, looking back now, I don't know how I did that. Like I was so crazy to do that. Like it was the worst business decision. Everything was the worst idea with the exception of like the value of life. So
wow.
Yeah, we've been out here for, I say 10 years, but I think it's been like 8 or 9 or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
And then we built this giant warehouse. I started building Airbnbs, you know, once again, creating environments for people to stay in. So,
Well, okay, hang on really fast. I have a question because you said that it was a bad decision other than your mental well-being. But from the outside looking in, it looked like it was all good.
yeah.
I mean, we don't see your struggle. So what would you say was your first red flag?
Yeah, we had a 40,000 square foot warehouse in Pennsylvania, and we had tons of employees, right? So we replaced all of our employees in either new jobs or started companies for them when we moved. And then some of them came with us, which we offered to all the employees, but not many of them wanted to move to Montana.
Yeah.
So we relocated a bunch of employees here. The other ones, we got either new jobs with friends or started companies for them. And I think the move here was, I mean, we moved into maybe a 15,000 square foot warehouse. Like it was not big enough. We moved right before Black Friday. Like it was a very spur of the moment move. So we really got, yeah, that was the catalyst. I like that someone knows that actually. So I can tell that story. Coming from the East Coast, Wendy, where are you at?
I am in Southern California.
Okay, so you don't understand. So the East
No.
Coast, the East Coast kind of has like a chip on their shoulder, right? Like it's just a thing. And
What are you talking about?
yeah, right. I remember I got to a point where I was able to buy I love Porsche 911s. So I'd bought my first 911 and I was starting to do good. And the community around me wasn't very happy for me. They were mad at the success. People that liked Dana were starting to not like Dana because we were getting successful. And I found myself almost watering down my life. So I would, we would go to Australia and I'd come back from Australia and it was an amazing trip. And people would say, how's the trip? And I'd be like, dude, traveling sucks. And I found myself trying to play down my life to make people feel comfortable and things like that. And I was out here and I was complaining about the rain to a cashier, and a cashier, she was like, how's your day going? And I just said the natural East Coast thing, which was my day'd be a lot better if it wasn't raining. And her response was like, oh my God, I love the rain. I can't wait to get off work and hear it on my roof. And I was like, whoa, this is Montana's such a positive, rad place, right?
Oh my God, you just gave me chills.
It just clicked. Something about that day just clicked where it was like, let's just do it. Let's just move. Let's be where we want to be. Let's finish this whole puzzle of life and make it exactly what we want. So that's a bunch of stories about how the move happened.
No, I'm unpacking everything that you just said because you have a lot of gems in what you just said. I mean, the way that you share your story is so raw, so real, and you're so freaking down to earth. It's crazy. But I think that it's so hard for people to see those types of struggles with with people that they think are basically not human. You know, you're so successful. You and Dana, so successful. People see the glitz and the glam and the fame and the fortune and how well your business is doing and all the Flagner Phil stuff, all the amazing videos. And it just looks like you guys are just, you know, living the dream, you know, and you are living the dream. And I'm sure you're enjoying it. But it's interesting because it is a genuine struggle that people face, which is how do you fully enjoy it without feeling like you have to kind of like filter yourself into this place where you don't make people feel bad or whatever. And I mean, to a small degree, I've experienced that too, but that's real. And that was really well said. And I appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's crazy that you're like a real person, you know? No, I'm just kidding.
I am 100% a real person. Yeah.
That's, you know, that's life. But so Charley, when it comes to you, when it comes to sonic branding, when it comes to like all the projects that you're working on right now, okay, I was watching something that you had what you were talking about. You were on a podcast, you're talking, it was right around the whole COVID situation. Okay. And you were talking about how it forced you to start creating new types of things. It brought you into this place because everyone's hunkered down. Everyone is forced to do things differently. You know, you're not out seeing people and doing things. So how much of that time of your life like shifted your new direction and how you started operating and doing things with music?
I think it had a huge shift for me. You know, when everything kind of locked down and shut down and people weren't getting together to do sessions and write songs together and all that stuff, I just shifted into like, okay, how are we doing it? So virtual sessions became the norm. And I mean, some songs that I've made over during that period, however long that was, 2-3 years, some of those songs were very successful songs that I wrote with people that I have never been in the same room with. But we still had like an amazing connection and we still were able to like express things and still create art together, which was really cool. So as that was going on,
we can't create music with a mask on.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess you can. I don't know. But then I ended up moving to Nashville after that. And while I was in Nashville, I didn't know too many people there. So still most of the people that I was working with were virtual.
Well, hang on really quick. So you moved from Philly to Nashville.
No, I moved from LA to Nashville.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And, with a couple little stops in between, but they were minor stops, but, ended up in Nashville because between leaving LA and ending up in Nashville, my wife got pregnant with our baby boy and we weren't living anywhere. We just put all of our stuff in storage and got rid of our apartment in LA. And we were like, our plan was to do long-term Airbnbs around the country like during the pandemic. Cause it was like, well, we're stuck in our house. We can be stuck in our house anywhere. So let's hop around and have fun. So we ended up, our first place we went was in Santa Fe. And after being in Santa Fe for 2 weeks, my wife got pregnant and we were like, oh, now we need a place to live. So, so we ended up going to Nashville because it's a music town. I haven't done that one yet, a little more affordable. And I was like, okay, let me check it out. So went down there. So anyway, back to the thing. So was still doing virtual sessions because, like I said, I wasn't integrated into Nashville. And after about 2 years in Nashville, we had the kid. We were like, it'd be nice to be closer to family and all that stuff. And my wife and I are both from the Philadelphia area. We met in LA, but we're both from the same area. And we were like, maybe getting closer to family would be the move. Most of my clients are virtual. Let's just go up there. Moved up here about 2 years ago. And the virtual thing was fine, but it was starting to feel like, you know what, I'm not with artists and it was starting to not feel great. And so that's where the transition of like, okay, how can I continue to be working in the thing that I love, making music and creating sounds and developing sounds for people? How can I do that here? And that's where the whole sonic branding thing comes into play. Cause now I'm working with businesses and business owners and brands and content creators, where even if I was in the same town with them, we probably still wouldn't work in the same room, you know? So this works really well.
I don't see country music in any of your genres of
Nah.
music creation.
nah, it's not really how my heart beats, but it's cool. It's good music, you know. I just don't I don't have the twang, you know.
Don't the twang. You could if you really had the passion for it, I'm sure. I'd love to hear Rob singing country music. That'd be
There's kind of a band out there right now, a project that I do called Land and Ammo, which is
really, it's
folk music, but it's really just me yelling again. I don't have that much of a range, to be honest, but it's a fun project. Yeah.
You know, I have to tell you something about that though. It's crazy that you say you don't have much of a range, because that's where your insane storytelling ability comes into play. Because it is kind of fascinating to me that there isn't much of a range vocal wise, but there's a huge range in the styles of these tracks. I mean, every single one has a totally different heartbeat. Every one has like a different vibe and feel. It's crazy, with really the same range of vocals. And it's always something that's fascinated me. So I think that is really interesting.
You're being so nice to me.
I'm
gonna pass that to Charley. I feel like he changes the music, which makes it maybe sound different, right? But I think that's why we're such a good team.
See, Charley, look at that. You make him look good.
I absolutely make him look good. All of Flagner Fail's success is because of me. No, I mean, what it is also, it's like the limitations, right? So limitations in creativity make you be more creative, so knowing that this is what Rob brings, this is the cadence he can do, this is the tempo he can go, this is his range of stuff. We try to experiment and get out of it a little bit and stuff, but it's like, okay, we can't really mess with that. How do we move the other elements around that to keep it creative? And so, it works.
These are just, they're every one of the jam. I want to know though, when's the next album coming out with you guys?
So we discussed not doing albums anymore. I am way too busy for some reason right now. I don't know how I've made my life so complicated, but I have.
I'm an idiot. I don't really know how all that works. So I get it though. You don't want to make
we would need more, like much more time together. You know, I think that for us to do an album, I mean, we would need 3 weeks working together. And I think with Charley's life right now, my life right now, we're just a little too busy. So that being said, we decided to start doing singles. And really,
which we're still too busy for. No, because here's the truth: is if we're going to put out a song, we want to put it out well. We want to have the content to go with it. We want to have the themes to go with it. We want to have the whole thing. We don't just want to put it out and say, here's a song and like put it out like we don't care about it. You know, like we love our songs and we want to put them out in a real proper way. Right now, like Rob said, with lives and businesses and things going on, we just don't have the time to give it all the effort we need to. But that doesn't mean we're not going to find the time at some point.
Well, now that I know your secret, Charley, Rob has told me his secret and how he does it. So just put me in there and make me sound good. I'll just scream into the microphone.
Oh, yeah. No, we got
I know his secret now, and I know that you make him sound good. So now put me in, coach.
Let's go. We got it. As long as you have the inspiration and the spirit in you, we can do it.
I think I could do it. I think I could do it. I've sung along to many of Rob Bailey and Hustle Standard songs, and
so you're good. You've been practicing.
I have a hard time cussing, though. I do.
You don't have to.
No, you
don't have to. It doesn't sound right when I say it.
Our two new, so we came out with a single, 6 months ago. We have another really great song. It's just a matter of the right release date for it. But I don't think we curse in that, do we?
Yes, we do. It's in the title.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
what's the title?
But we have pulled back. We have pulled back a good deal.
I know. I don't.
What's the title?
I don't know. What's the
The
title?
title. The title's "Let's Fucking Go."
Ah, shit. You're right. I am so stupid. My brain just doesn't work, man. It's been a long day.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a song. It's ready to go. We
amazing song with no
cuss
cuss
on it.
words in it. It's the
No,
Yeah.
I've been trying not to curse, but yeah, we have a song called "Let's Fucking Go."
Yeah,
Somebody else said,
funny.
"Doesn't Rob have some solo music?" Yeah, we're sitting on a single. I'm sitting on a 10-track metal album and a 10-track Land and Ammo album. That because I think that was the thing with Heart of a Champion is we released it with one visual, and I think the market's kind of changed now.
Yeah.
And we realized that if we release something, it has to come out with visuals. That's how music works now. We have to have 30 different. Look at that. That's 300-pound Rob Bailey right there.
Wait, this one right here?
I think I was 310 there. Yeah.
You look pretty awesome.
I was like
was
a buck
heavy.
85.
I was
That
a heavy
really
boy.
look like you, Charlie. And then you have a full blown you're just got the hair going, the beard going. You're just,
Look
Where'd
at
all
you.
that hair go?
but
It's 15 years ago. We can't look.
That's a long time ago.
Shit, man.
that's crazy. You're not in this photo, but this is pretty badass.
Yeah.
Whenever you do a Google search for Rob Bailey and Hustle Standard, not sure if you have, but I have, obviously. This pops up it's like the first thing to pop up because
it's our biggest song.
it's nuts. Something that we didn't really touch on, but we could really briefly touch on it because I know Rob, you have to go, and believe it or not, we've already been talking for almost an hour. I can't.
That's
even believe
crazy.
it. I know we could probably go on for another.
Well, I
hour.
think Wendy, it's because you've done your research.
Yeah.
Normally, it's people just ask questions, and it's what are you even talking about? But you seem to know everything. I like it.
Oh, I freaking did my research. Okay, I know everything about you.
You dug up videos that I didn't even think existed anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I really wanted to. I'm really excited about this, and really fast, I do want to talk about Southpaw because no one knew that you two were behind this song. It was incredible. It was the song of the moment and beyond. I still listen to it all the time. Obviously, Mark Cuban shouted it out. There's a story behind how this came to be. And Charlie, you told me about it, but I kind of forgot the story. So touch on that.
Yeah. So we were actually getting ready to put out our third album, and I got an email from somebody asking if they could use our song in a film that they were working on. And it was a really plain email. And most of the time we'd get emails like that, but it was mostly YouTube people or college students just being like, "Hey, can I have your permission?" And it's yeah, of course, go for it. But he sent an IMDb link, and I click on it, and it's Jake Gyllenhaal and Rachel McAdams. And I'm like, wait, are they doing a super indie movie? What's going on? And so I looked into, I was like, oh, this is real. So I got back to the guy, and he the music supervisor, John Houlihan. And he was like, he's like, Antoine Fuqua, who's directing the movie, he boxes when he works out, and he listens to your music while he's working out. And he's now making a boxing movie, and he wants his main character to be getting focused for the fight, listening to your music on the headphones in the opening scene of the movie. And he's like, are you cool if we kind of proceed using your track in the place, and maybe we can figure out a deal to use it? I'm like, yeah, no, that's cool. So, that's pretty much the story of how we got that. It's cool that it was such a organic way where it wasn't like we had some agent or somebody out there getting us this thing. It was no, the director loves your song and wants it to be in his real movie.
That is so crazy. I would have screamed. I would have been like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. This is crazy.
Yeah.
My
well, the cool
God.
thing about it, sorry to interrupt you.
No.
The cool thing was I invited my brother. I was living in the Catskills at the time, and I invited my brother and sister to come up. I didn't tell anyone that we had this placement. I was superstitious about it. I was like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
And it was like the movie's coming out. I invited my brother and sister to come stay with me at my house in the Catskills, and they didn't know it was happening. And I was like, hey, we should go to the movies. And they're like, okay, cool, let's go see I was like, I really want to see this movie. So we're sitting in the movie theater. Literally, like the first thing you hear when the movie starts is my voice singing the song. And they both look over at me and they're like, what? So and then I had to like sit through a whole movie, and I couldn't even like talk to them about how cool it was.
Oh my gosh, so freaking cool. Like you're never gonna get over it. It's gonna be something that I hope that you feel that intense excitement for the rest of your life. Just this moment that, I mean, I hope you have more moments like that, but those moments are kind of like a lightning in a bottle kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, that was 10 years ago now, and I'm still this excited about it, you know? So it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rob, when you do find lightning in a bottle like that, does that fuel your desire to chase another moment in time like that?
I mean, I feel like I have lightning in a bottle every day for everything.
Ooh, good one.
You know,
yes.
Because as you were saying that, I was like, damn, that moment should mean more to me. But I don't know what shaped this, but when moments like that happen, I'm like, oh, this is like Dana gets frustrated with me because anytime a big moment happens, I'm like, sick, dope, whatever. What are we doing now? And I think it's just, I'm constantly chasing everything, you know? And I'm working on celebrating. I'm working on that's one of the things that we're doing now. That's like my 2024, 2025 initiative.
Okay.
You know, is celebrating. But no, I feel like it's crazy, but like I expect moments like that now, which is maybe not the right way to go into it, but I don't think we haven't had any music placements that big, but you know, we had, who was it? The Dallas Mavericks, or the Spurs.
The Spurs. That was cool.
Using the song, and that was really cool. And we've had a bunch of big moments in in music like that. And I don't know. That's I like expect them for some reason. I don't know if I'm like greedy, trying to get all those moments gathered up, but yeah, I mean, I feel like I have them every day, and I see them all everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm more excited about the Southpaw thing now than I was when it happened.
I can see that because you're in shock almost at the time.
Yeah, and it's also like, it's just a long process. You know, it was like from the time I got that email till the movie came out, it was like 6 months. And by the time it came out, there was so many back and forths and things, and maybe we have it, maybe we don't have it, and this person wants to take us out of it, and now we're in it, and now, you know, by the time it happens, you're like, whew, well, that's over. Let's, you know, what are we working on now?
No, I think you should enjoy it, but I want to actually really fast, Rob, touch on something that you just said, because I have mixed feelings about this actually. So for me, you know, like when I have a big win, there have been times when I enjoy it so much and I feel it so much that I think that there's this human tendency to fall down a little bit and maybe get a little complacent, and we enjoy it maybe a little bit too much and feel like we ride that wave maybe a little bit too much. I think that's part of the human experience. And then maybe we get our ass kicked, and then that drives us to jump back up, right?
Yeah.
It seems like, and then that's one way of handling. That's the majority of people have that. High performing people actually operate that way, right? But then there's another behavior pattern that you're talking about, which is you're kind of desensitized to the highs and lows. Yeah. And it's keeping you, it's like your coping mechanism from ever getting complacent and letting yourself fall down to where a lot of high performers do, and they constantly getting themselves back up and down and back up. And you're almost like preventing that from happening by keeping yourself even keel along all these victories. Does that make sense?
And I have to. It took me a long time to realize that. If I allow, my whole life is peaks and valleys, right? Like I guess I'm an emotional artist or whatever. And for a long time I did that, right? I would feel a high, and then the next day I would be like super depressed, and I wouldn't stop, or I wouldn't keep celebrating. I would almost get angry and get a little bit more hungry. And it took me a long time to realize that, like, wait, I have a lot of people that work for me I have like a wife that I have to go home to every night that has to deal with my moods. And I realize that if I get too high on like a good feeling, I know that there's a really big down the next day. So I've actively tried to make sure that I stay level so that I can be essentially the leader that I need to be within the company. So we do celebrate because I know that people need that, but I'm not I'm like there smiling, but it's not real. But
I get it. I get what you're saying. That's interesting.
But yeah, I got to make sure my highs don't get too high because everyone's in trouble the next week. So
I get it.
I try to stay as level as possible for as long as I can.
But you still should celebrate Southpaw.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we do. I love it. I love it.
Like celebrate it like it just happened because it's pretty freaking awesome.
Very cool.
Honestly. My gosh, you guys, I could talk to both of you forever. Maybe if you would allow me to invite you back, I would love to have you back. But
this has been great, Wendy. You're a great podcast host. This is awesome.
Yay. Yeah. Well, then you're coming back. It's done. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
I want you two to have the last word. So, Charley, I'll start with you. What would you like to say to your fans and your followers and people who love you and want to keep seeing you? Go for it.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's just been awesome to have fans and to have people that resonate with the music. That's the dream of pretty much anyone that makes music or does anything creative. Probably is to make something that affects people, that resonates with people, that finds its tribe. And I've been able to do that, and the response is amazing. The messages I get from people are inspiring, heartbreaking, mind-blowing. I mean, it's a lot. It's pretty wild, and I feel very fortunate to have been able to make some songs that have gotten out to people and stuff like that. So I really appreciate everyone that listens to our music and shares our music and lives to our music. And so thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Rob, your fans, your followers, everyone who loves you.
My mom's that last comment. Hi, Mom.
Oh, your mom.
Hey, Joy.
Hi, Mom.
Goodness gracious.
She wants to see your music. I love it.
She's my biggest fan, my mom. That's great.
Yeah.
Wendy did crush it.
Yeah, I crushed it. Rob is stoic. So Rob, to your mom and to everyone else, you have the final word, the final floor. Go for it.
I thought about getting wild, but I'll tone it back a little bit. I just want to remind everybody that you're in control, right? And I think that a bunch of adversity is going to come your way. And I think it's everyone's responsibility to make themselves the person they need to be for when that adversity shows up. I think that everyone has the opportunity to be the person people rely on, that people look to. And I think we need more of those people. I think the world is becoming a very, very interesting place. And I think the more skill sets, resources, habits, and community we have around us, the better we're all going to be able to handle it, And I think that self-reliance is becoming more important than ever in every single aspect. And I think that the opportunities are there, and I think people should focus on that. So I'll keep it nice because my mom's here.
I feel like I needed this conversation, and I feel really motivated now.
Hell yeah, Wendy.
I do. I feel like, I'm going to go on to crush my workout tonight. Kidding me? But don't go anywhere. I'm going to say goodbye to you two on the other side. But to everyone watching, thank you all so much for tuning in. This is going to stay up on our channel, so you can go back and watch it. But until next time, we will see you on the flip side.